even Steve Jobs wasn't considered a natural born leader, and he had to work on his communication skills as well. So the good news is that soft skills is trainable. You can train and you can practice and you can improve them. Even myself, I consider that I was really, really bad at soft skills, really bad at communication, leadership, negotiation, and all of that. I still have a lot of things to improve, but I consider that I'm way better than I was a few years ago. The good news is that you can develop that and you can, excel on your role if you develop that in a proper way. Because even Steve Jobs did that, and not only him, that's just an example. If you look at the tech industry and the leaderships and the influential people out there, you're going to see that many of them are constantly developing those soft skills, right? And that's what I want to show how you could do this as well if you want. So the first one that we're going to discuss is how you can improve your communication skills. And communication is all about confidence, guys. So you need to understand that. All right. The confidence, the communication game is all about confidence. Okay. You need to show up with confidence on whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter if it is on an interview, if it is for a assignment with a client, with a customer, if it is a meeting with your manager, if you're doing a presentation for your team, you should show up with confidence, because confidence is gonna, help you to increase your trust for the people that are listening to you, right? And how you can develop your confidence? You need to train that more and more and more, right? And then the more you train, the better you're going to be on it, right? And then how you can train that. So in my case, I use it to train, with my own relatives, or even to the mirror, looking at the mirror and practicing how I could, kind of conceive the message that I wanted to transmit, right, to the team members or to the clients or to the management that I was working in a given project. I just need to practice that, right? And then once you practice that, the next time that you go and you say the same message, you're going to say that with much more confidence if you're doing it for the first time, right? So practice is a number one, it's the key in here, so that you can show up with confidence. Okay. And don't worry, don't here's the thing. You don't need to worry about what people are going to think about you or your talk or your speech, right? Or your presentation. Just don't worry about that. Okay. If you develop this mindset, it's gonna help you to increase and boost your confidence. Okay. That's the second thing I wanted to say about this. And the other one is communicate in layers, right? Kind of bullet points, like I'm doing with you right now. I'm moving step by step. Okay. So it basically means that I am not throwing you a lot of information at you at the same time. This is really overwhelming, irritating, and it doesn't help you to communicate your message in a proper way. So what I like to do is communicate in layer, right? When I go and talk to customers or go to meetings and all of that, I always like to structure what I would like to transmit in bullet points, right? And then I like to go through the bullet points and explain that, and then also get the feedback from whoever is listening to me to see if they understood that. The biggest mistake that I see most of the people doing is they start talking without stopping, and then that overwhelms people, right? So people kind of start not paying attention and makes the conversation very confusing, right? So you can avoid that by communicating within layers, right? So just go in a sequence, step by step, and also getting feedback to your from your listeners, right? That's gonna help you a lot. I do it every single time. I'm doing it right now. Okay. And you can do it on your projects as well, even for simple things, right? Maybe you're going to have a meeting with your manager. Instead of you start talking, or even with a customer, you can put 3 bullet points, and then you can conceive your message uh, based on these 3 bullet points. That's gonna help you a lot, right? And the other thing is be direct and specific about the questions and the answers that you provide, right? What I see is, even when I'm interviewing people and, talking to my team members, I ask them a given question, and I just want to have a specific answer, right? Maybe yes or no, or a short answer explaining, uh, you know, the question that I made. Biggest mistake that I see is people, they don't, they, they can't get direct. They need to talk a lot of useless things, right? A lot of useless things before giving you the answer that you're looking for. So if you're direct and specific, you can, be a much better communicator, because you're going to, give the answer that somebody is asking you very, very quickly, right? And then that's a very, very special one, especially if you're working with managers and executives, right? So those people, they don't have all the time to keep listening on you, right? On all the useless things that you're throwing at them. You just need to give them the answer, the data, and that's it, right? So that's going to help you a lot on your communication. That helped me a lot, okay? And the other thing is use storytelling. Use storytelling. I like to use storytelling all the time, right? Because if you think about that, human beings, they understand stories, right? When you tell a story to somebody, you can retain their attention, then it helps them to understand better whatever you're trying to say. Okay. So if you give analogies, if you do comparisons with things while you're transmitting your message, can help you to be better, I would say, to communicate better to whoever is listening to you, because you're going to be using stories and analogies with things that might already know. Okay. So that's something that you can consider doing as well. And then I do it all the time. If you, have joined one of my trainings, my cloud trainings, I kind of, choose a story to show you how you could, for example, do a cloud project implementation. But I'm using storytelling behind the scenes to teach you something so that you can understand and correlate that with something that you already know. Okay. That's very, very powerful, especially if you want to get your listeners paying attention to whatever you want to transmit to them. All right. And, that's trainable. Again, that's trainable. And then the best ones that you can prepare for this one in here is putting a draft, right, with the storyline that you want to follow when you're giving your speech, or when you're, discussing with a customer or making a presentation. That will help you a lot. Okay. Storytelling. And the other things are, I would say, last but not least in here on this communication topic, is work on your voice tone, facial expressions, and body language. Okay. So there are few things that are not kind of, voiced communication, but they speak as well, which are the facial expressions, the way that you react when somebody talks to you, okay, and your body language as well, your gestures, the way that you behave. All of that is communicating on your behalf. So that's why you should develop those 3 items in here as well. And the voice tone in here, how you could, improve that. The voice tone is going to show you if you're feeling confident or not. Okay. If I come in here to talk to you guys on this presentation, this cloud warm up light, and this kind of posture, and say like this, pay attention, right? I talk to you like this. Hey guys, I'm here. You know what? I'm here to show you a few things about soft skills, communication, and things like that. Come on, you will not pay attention to me, right? Because I am not using my voice to uh, grab your attention, that you can pay attention on me, and then I can module my voice when I need to catch your attention, when I need to give you a more powerful messages, and things like that. And the same thing applies when you're working with clients, customers, interviews. And then I'm gesturing now, right? I'm also gesturing now. So that basically means that I am kind of putting together my voice communication with gestures, and the body language is going to help you to be convinced with whatever I'm telling you could help you, and then you start paying attention on what I'm saying, right? But you should use that on a proper way, okay? Um, and then, there are a few things that I brought you in here from the Business Insider, which is this article in here. You can go on Business Insider and get there. All right, I got it from there. But there are basically 9 horrible body language habits that you are hard to teach. Okay, that are hard to teach. Okay, and then those are not only for one or two people, but that's for humans in general. And then those are the 9 ones in here, right? So basically, the first one is feed getting. You should avoid that. There are so many people that cannot control themselves and keep touching on things, or crossing fingers, or kind of doing these movements with the hands. This is irritating, right? So this is really, really bad for when you're communicating with people, right? So I've seen so many times, a few colleagues, and sitting together in a room, and they keep kind of touching their fingers on the desk, right? Like this. That's really crazy. So you can't see the desk now, but that's kind of crazy, right? So that will not help you, and then that can make problems for your management. When they're talking to you, they can be distracted with the movements that you're doing, so you should avoid that. The other thing is playing with your hair, touching on your hair all the time, and adopting a defensive pose. That's a classic one, right? How many times have you seen people with the crossed arms like this, right? Crossed arms. You're talking to them, and they're with crossed arms like this. This is basically means that they are in a defensive pose, right? They are kind of maybe not feeling very comfortable, and feeling not very open to your message, right? So that's why they adopt this kind of pose. Okay. And there are so many other things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with all of them, but I would focus on the most critical one, right? Forgetting to smile is a trouble as well, especially if you're in an interview, if you're working with clients, with your team members, with your management, right? You should smile so that it can look better for them, and then can look more a more, let's say, nice person for them, right? I think it's important, right? Being distracted, that's a critical one as well. Maybe your manager is talking to you or in a meeting, and then you're there on the cell phone, just texting somebody. That's horrible. That's a horrible thing that you should do. All right. Also, no existent or aggressive eye contact. Right. So if you're talking to a client, that's a very irritating one. Right. So if you're talking to a client, a customer, or your manager, or a peer, doesn't matter, or in an interview to a recruiter, and then you're not making eye contact with them, it basically means to whoever is talking to you that you're not paying attention on there, or you're nervous, or you're not feeling confident. So you should make eye contact every single time when you're talking to the listener. All right. And last but not least in here is mismatching verbal and nonverbal communication, right? So example of this one is maybe you're feeling very happy with your voice. You're transmitting your message very, very happy, but you're with your arms crossed. It doesn't match with your nonverbal communication, right? Your non-verbal communication, which is your body language, is not matching with your verbal communication, which is something that you're saying at that time. Okay, so those are just a few advices that I wanted to share with you, and then if you develop that, I promise you guys, you're going to go to the next level in terms of communication, right?